not deserve to be in your presence. You don't deserve to have to go through this again. You shouldn't have to. He should be in jail for what he did, but he's not. And that's due to North Carolina and South Carolina laws. My friends, that's how it is here. Because if you got a little bit of money, you can get away with a lot here. He was convicted several times throughout all of that, and he still only pulled the 15 months. Well, then, after, he goes in there, he's calling the law, this and that, and I said, well, you do understand that you're at a store with a school next to it. So technically, you're not supposed to be here because there's kids here. Well, then he goes to hottail to his car. Now he's scared. So the law gets there, they talk to us, they tell us there's nothing they can do. They didn't see him there. I said, you check the cameras, you can see that he was here. Can you not violate his parole for that? He was here. Okay, they can't do nothing, we leave. Well, I do a little bit of research, and I go down because where we were living at, there was a lot of stores. And if you're from the Carolinas, you know about the little country stores. There's all these little country stores around our houses and our areas, little small towns that we stay in. And there's little stores up and down the area. So I go to another store the same week, and I talk to basically like my aunt is what I call her. She's just like my aunt. I go talk to her, and she's like, hey, I know that dude. I said, here's a picture, here's his, because you can go on the internet and you can find their registry picture, their SO registry picture, because I don't know if I can say that on here, but if you know what I'm saying. Anyways, I show him the mugshot where he was charged. I show him the conviction, the court paper, everything. She says, this guy has been coming in here every week with a woman who has 2 small daughters. I said, what? What the heck? He's not supposed to be around kids. He's registered. He's not supposed to be around kids. Where's his parole officer? He's supposed to be showing an address of where he lives. And get this, guys. He gave the parole office, the parole, whatever it is, he gave them his address, and it's the address of the woman with the 2 kids. So that tells me one of 2 things. Either the parole board or whoever it is, probation officer, parole officer, went to her house and seen there was kids there, or they had the kids hid. Either way, the parole officer went to her house, or he lied about his address, and he used a different one, and they didn't check him. So either way, they didn't do their job. Okay? Well, then we find out, because my aunt starts telling me, he comes in the store and starts telling people that my friend Allie was lying. He was never convicted, never went to court, none of that. None of that ever happened. It was just a misunderstanding, and she was just a rebellious teen who he had to get on to. And he had to punish occasionally, but it never was like that. So I tell Allie, and Allie had already given me copies of the court papers, and I show my aunt at the store, and I said, if you would just do me this favor, hang this paper up over here behind your counter, and anytime you see him, run him off. And if you see him with that woman and with those kids, you stop that woman and you show her this paper. You show her where he is a convicted SO and he is registered. Show this woman the paper. Get those kids away from him. Well, she does better than that. She sees the woman about a week or so later. She tells the woman, shows the woman the paper. This woman doesn't care. So my aunt tells her, if you don't care, you're going to get in trouble if y'all get caught, and you're going to lose your kids. Social services is not going to let you have these kids. Well, they finally get up with them. Apparently one of the little girls told somebody that he had tried to touch her. Nothing was done. Nobody said nothing. Nothing was done. As usual, that's the Carolinas for you. Nothing's done. Let me sit this back over here. So, we find out, I say, you know what can I do? What can we do to solve this? What can we do to stop him from being around children? The wind is really picking up. Give me 1 second. Let me shut the door. Must be some storms coming today. If you live in the Carolinas, you know all about the storms. We get storms all the time. Okay, so back. So we tell them, and I tell my aunt, you know, what in the world can I do to stop this guy? How can I get him away from these children, away from this, to get this woman to get him away from her children? So we report it. We call the parole officer. It took us forever to get that number, But we had to go online, get the number off the registry, the reporting number, the North Carolina number, all that stuff. We report it. We call the schoolhouse because we know if those kids are coming to that store, they live somewhere close by. Well, it just so happens the girl that works at my aunt's store knows her. And she knows that she's only with this guy for money because, yeah, he works doing construction or something. He actually makes pretty good money every week. And that's the reason she's with him, so she can get her fix. Okay. That shined up really nice. I can't stand that gritty sound when you put a pot down. So I wipe my bars over and over and over, and I still hear it. And these are like real granite bars, so the grit really just like, oh, it's yucky. I don't like it. So we report it. Well, they start an investigation, and they say the detective that came out, he's like, I can't do anything based on this, but if you can prove, if we can get some kind of proof that he was with her and those kids, I can start, have probable cause. I can look into this. I said, if there's children involved, you should be able to look into it. CPS should be able to look into it. Somebody should be able to look into it, either way. He says, you're right. If you can get up with CPS and make a report, find out the girl's name, the kids' names, report it. So that's what we did. We go and we report it. CPS goes out, and of course he's not there because the girl's claiming he doesn't live there. So they're like, well, there's no proof of him being there. We can't prove it. I said, did you talk to the kids? The CPS worker, and let me tell you, in the Carolinas, the CPS, that whole situation is crooked too. That'll be another story sometime. So she says that, no, they didn't talk to the kids. I said, well, why would you even look into this if you weren't going to talk to the kids? You need to talk to the kids. Well, we make so much of a fuss and make threats to go over their head that they finally go and they talk to the kids while they're at school. And the daughter says, yes, my mom has a man living there, and his name is this, and he has been there, and he got out of prison, and he was in prison for this, but we're not supposed to tell people, and all that stuff. And the woman's like, I thought your mama said nobody was staying with you. And she said, no, Mr. Blank stays with us. He's our new daddy. She said, has he touched you? Has he done anything? And the girl wouldn't say nothing. I said, and then when I finally talked to the worker again, she said, well, they said he didn't touch him. I said, wait a minute. Miss Social Worker, let me explain something to you. It does not matter if that child says that Mr. R did not touch her. He is a registered SO. He's not supposed to be anywhere around kids. Then it's like a light bulb goes off in her head. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, that's right. He's a registered SO. He's not supposed to be around kids. I have to go to those kids. I have to tell this woman no, to get these kids away from him. I'm thinking to myself, you're a CPS worker. You're a social worker. What do you mean? You have the court documents from where he was convicted 4 or 5 times. You went to the house, you went to the school, they confirmed that this man, they seen the picture, they said that's him, and you mean to tell me it didn't dawn on you to say, hey, you need to get this man out of this house or we're taking these kids? No, her light bulb goes off and she finally goes out and tells the mom, oh, he can't be here. He can't be here. You can't have a registered SO in this house with these children. The mom's like, he doesn't live here. He's just a friend. All the basic lies that, let me get this pot in. All the basic lies that an addict says to keep, the person around and not to lose her little meal tickets, because those kids were just her meal tickets. We knew that. Well, she's getting $800 a month in food stamps because she has not only two daughters, but a son too. And while she's getting her fix and getting her high every day and every night, he's with those kids after he gets off of work. So she's out with his truck doing her thing, and he's at home with those babies. Huh. Interesting. Well, they go out. They finally, this time when they go, they didn't give them a notice. I said, why are they giving them notices anyways? Well, I found out that sometimes CPS will give the parents a 30-day notice to get the drugs out their system and to get their house cleaned up, to get jobs, get their parenting classes done. I'm like, okay, so they basically get that done just to get y'all off their backs. Y'all don't do surprise visits anymore? Whatever happened to that? So they do a surprise visit, and bam, there he is with the kids by himself. CPS doesn't call the law. They warn him he has to leave. He can't be around the kids. They ask where the mom is. She's out at the darn, hill getting her fix. The kids call the grandmother. The grandmother's basically, she's all the heck about it because she thought this guy was a good guy. She thought that, he was, probably had a little weird, quirks or whatever, but she didn't think he was a registered SO. And then she found out. Well, the grandma goes and files for custody. The judge tells the grandma she doesn't have, probable cause to do that or whatever, and she's like, give my daughter a drug test. Well, all that happens, the grandma ends up with the babies, with the kids. Now, this poor grandma goes and files for food stamps because now she's got 3 kids to take care of. They turn her down and tell her no. What? You mean you're going to give it to their mama, knowing that she's strung out and she's selling her stamps, like a lot of people do, to get the money and to go get high? But the grandma goes up there, and because she has a job that she works like 2 or 3 days a week, because she has a job, she's not able to be qualified for food stamps. But the mom doesn't work, lays up, gets high every day, smokes crack and does all this stuff, but she's eligible. That's why I say the Carolinas are so screwed up. It's ridiculous. They don't check anybody anymore. It's like they don't care. And not all the people, because there are a lot of people who need these benefits. And that's another issue that I have is many veterans live here in the Carolinas and they need food stamps, Medicaid, Medicare, HUD, and they cannot get it because all these other people who are abusing the system are getting it. Okay? Well, they tell Mr. R that he has to go. Mr. R says, well, since y'all have taken the kids, why should I have to go? And they tell the mother of the children, you're not going to get no visitation if he's staying here, if we know that you're seeing him, contacting him, anything. So the mom figures out, hey, I'll just lie to him, and I'll just lie and say that I don't know where he is and what he's doing and he don't stay here. I'll basically move his stuff out and pretend like he ain't here. So that's what she does. She gets her kids back within 3 months. She's still with the dude during this time. Later on, the kids go back to school and they tell the teacher, Mr. R is still coming to our house and he's doing this to my sister. I seen it. These kids had no details. As far as we know, they had, because we didn't tell them any details. They might have went online and read it or something, the parents or somebody, but these are little kids. So I know they didn't get online and get the information from the previous court dates with my best friend, Allie. That was all stuff that was not put in the public because it was very, very, what's the word? It was very brutal. Well, she says same thing's happening to her sister, the little girls. They go out, they start another investigation. They take the kids away from the mom again, give them back to the grandma, and the grandma says, look, this time I want custody. They say, go ahead and go file your custody. We'll do what we can do. The grandma says, hey, can you give me some type of guardianship? CPS Social Services tells her they cannot give her any type of guardianship at that time, but she could make medical decisions. What do you mean? So I can't legally be their guardian. And Social Services told her, we do have a paper where we can put you down as their guardian until custody court date comes up, but we're not going to. But you can make their medical decisions. You can decide if they can have surgery, if they go on field trips, teeth pulled, all this kind of stuff. And they don't give her food stamps either. So the grandma's like, you know what? I'm going to get a lawyer. Now she's in debt going to get a lawyer. And it's a mess. It was all just a big mess. And he gets so aggravated because they took the kids again, and this time they're keeping them away, that they don't get no visitation, that Mr. R leaves the mama because guess what? She don't have the babies no more. Now he has nobody to mess with. He leaves her. He decides, I don't want you using my money to go do drugs when I can't mess with your kids. So he starts looking for somebody else. He goes to his own place again. His employer gives him a little trailer to stay in. In that little trailer park that he stays in is what? Kids. So he starts talking to the neighbors, barbecuing, getting to know everybody. Well, Mr. R gets a certain kind of medicine from the doctor that certain people want really bad. And, it's called Percocet. That's what it's called. oxycodone. He gets that medicine, and all the people over there, they're after it. That's what they want. So he finds another woman. Well, this woman has a boyfriend. Oh, all my pots are scraggling around. This woman has a boyfriend, and the boyfriend decides, hey, I don't like this guy hanging around like this. The girlfriend says, well, you know what? You can leave because I like Mr. R. He's pretty cool. He gives me money. He gives me the oxycodone. He gives my kids toys. He lets my kids go to his house and watch cartoons. Blah, blah, blah. So the boyfriend leaves. Well, the boyfriend has a child with this woman. He says, my child's coming with me. She's not staying here. So Mr. R is coming and hanging out with old girl and her 3 kids, and the now ex-boyfriend has taken his little girl and left. And mom doesn't care. She's getting her fix, getting her money. You know, all is well in her world to her. Well, one day, here comes old social worker again, a different one. This one, a little bit better, you know, seems to have more value in what she's doing. She comes up to the trailer park and says, I've been trying to call you to make an appointment to talk about what's been said at school. And that's another thing that's scaring me right now is a lot of investigations that get started with CPS normally start at school because a child says or does something or looks a certain way or does or doesn't have clean clothes, bugs in their book bag, different things, you know, lice over and over and over, bruises, will say something sexually, you know, whatever. And then CPS will find out from the teacher reports it, you know, it all works in a circle. So the CPS worker comes out, social worker, and says, look, you know, your child went to school and was trying to do something. And the woman's like, kids are going to be kids. Don't come out here with that bull crap, blah, blah, blah. And the social worker says, I want to see your house. So the woman's like, you're not just walking up in my house. And the social worker says, well, I'll come back and I'll be able to when I come back. So if you let me now, there won't be no issues. If you do, whatever. If you don't, I'm coming back. The woman lets her walk in, and there's trash ankle deep in the floor, dirty diapers everywhere, food, maggots, just disgusting, like something off the movie, the show Hoarders. It's horrible. Social worker says, I have to put this in the system. I have to start an investigation. You can't live this way with children. Blah, blah, blah. Well, here comes Mr. R. He's coming to save the day. He says, oh, well, she can come stay at my house with her kids. It's clean. I have 4 bedrooms. I have the nicest trailer out here at the trailer park. I've got money. I work all week. Blah, blah, blah. Me and her, we're dating. I'm going to be so good to her. The social worker does not run his name. Nothing. Just assumes, well, if you get your stuff and you get moved in over there and you leave this trash dump behind, everything will be okay. Okay. So they move in over there with Mr. R. She moves all 3 of her daughters and her little boy. And she's getting, you know, the daughter with the ex-boyfriend back and forth on weekends. So that's like 3 daughters and a son. I cannot believe the social worker didn't run the name. They don't just run names, apparently. They just take your word for it from what I've seen over the years. Social worker, they get moved over there. Social worker comes out, checks the house, says, oh, hey, this is a nice place. Well, he does have a very stable home. Y'all should be okay here. But we do have to do a drug test. The woman says, well, I'm going to just be honest with you. I can't pass a drug test. There's no way I can pass a drug test. And this social worker has the gall. I'll give you 30 days. And in 30 days, you have to pass this drug test. Oh, and I'll let you go in the bathroom and take it by yourself. What? What? Dude, you should have been, nah, you pass this drug test right now, and if you fail it, I'm gonna start taking kids up out of here. I'm gonna file court. We're gonna do something. But no, she didn't do that. Because again, that's the judicial system for you in the Carolinas. So the social worker tells her she's got 30 days. Within that 30 days, the little girl's grades dropping, doesn't really want to eat at school, doesn't want to really play with nobody, but then something happens. Now, this is within the 30-day span this happens. The teacher stops the little girl one day and is like, have you had a bath lately? Because she didn't want to say it in a mean way, but she was like, there's a smell, and we just want to make sure that everybody's getting baths and has clean clothes, new shoes, clean socks. Do you need anything? Now, the teacher knew that this child was going without. The teacher knew. The teacher done made the report. That's how all this got started. And the teacher said, we have some clean clothes, new clothes. We'll send you home, a whole bag of stuff. The teacher gives this child brand new book bag, notebooks, socks, jeans, shirts, hats. She's trying to make it as casual as she can without being mean. She gives the clothes at the end of the day when nobody can see, and she's like, here, we'll tote it to the bus for you. The bus driver, blah, 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 because they knew the parents, her mom wasn't going to come out and get it. Well, she takes it home, all the stuff, and like the big bags or whatever, and it wasn't huge. It was like armload. And the mom says, where'd you get all that from? What is that stuff? And the little girl pulls it out. And the mom starts going through it. I can sell this. I can sell that. You don't need this stuff. You don't need that. So she gets rid of every bit of it, takes it to her dealer, takes it out to the flea market, and sells it, and gets the money. Goes and does her thing. Well, the little girl goes back to school the next week on the Monday, and the teacher's like, did you like the clothes? And the little girl lies to her and says, yeah, they're nice. I like them a lot. Thank you. Thank you very much. Me and my sister both can wear them. Teacher notices over the next month, the kid ain't wearing the clothes. The kid ain't wearing the book bag. The kid's got the same crap she's had. Shoes too small, clothes too small. Her shirt was stretched so far it was hanging down past her neck right there. Her jeans are coming up way almost to her knees. They're so short. This is like a 6-7-year-old, girl. The older sister was about 8. And the next one was about 6. And then the next one, I think, was like 3. And then a little boy. So the teacher